This episode of the Cinema Psycho Show is sponsored by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CINEMA20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CINEMA20 at manscaped.com. Doug really wants to be number one at dog catching. When he finds out that the bunny is real, there's literally a 10-minute scene of him running around screaming with terrible ADR. Ah, there's a giant rabbit! That was right before I started passing the fuck out. Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
This movie's so bad I want to die, but I'm afraid because it's close to Easter, I'll just resurrect.
Yeah, this is really bad, and I'm gonna apologize in advance to our listeners. I mean, if you are a new listener because you listened to our last episode on RRR, and we were talking about how much we love that movie and how it really shows like great cinematography and great practice in the field of cinema, I am sorry for you, and you may want to like skip this episode. I mean, I don't want to be
don't
that
encourage
guy.
anybody. Yeah, no.
I don't want to encourage anyone to do that, but I'm just saying, like, this is going to be a lot of John and I discussing how not to make an awesomely bad movie, and why, and a lot of like sophomore humor and a lot of boobies and things like that, because that's what this movie is that we're reviewing.
Look, a lot of movies are just like boobs and blood. That's what they sell.
This one
on.
is very much that to the nth degree.
But you still need to like have even the most microscopic amount of talent.
Just a little bit.
I mean, everything was wrong. Everything was wrong.
I didn't even say what the title of the movie is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't even
yes.
say it's that bad. So we're on episode 305, and this week, in honor of Easter, Zombie Jesus Day, which we just lost our religious people. That's fine. Sorry.
I don't think
go
they're
listen
here.
to it. I don't think they're here. But in honor of Zombie Jesus Day, we wanted to do the 2014 cult classic, if you want to call it that. Let's call it crap classic. BeasterDay. Here Comes Peter Cottonhell. This actually was a recommendation on our Discord channel. See, you could give us recommendations like this.
Stop torturing us, though.
Yeah, but I you know what, John? I wanted to do a recommendation because I encourage people, because I'm a nice guy like that. This fan recommended this. Why? Why? Okay. But yeah, this movie, just initial thoughts before we get into like the synopsis and everything. Oh, it's just so bad.
Well, Brian, real quick here, before we get too far into this, I think people might have noticed that we're wearing matching shirts, and we will have an ad spot later on. But do we need to just kind of tell the audience that we've totally sold out?
Oh yeah, sure, we can.
Yeah, we're corporate shills now, baby.
We're corporate shills. See, I'm on camera. I can't even like point to it. Yeah. So if you listen to the ad at the beginning of the episode, a pre-roll, you might have heard a little thing that Manscaped has reached out to us, the Cinema Psycho Show, and we're kind of working with those folks to partnered up, and we have a coupon code. A little bit later in the episode, you'll hear that ad spot. It's kind of funny. I think so. But yeah, if you go to manscaped.com and you use the coupon code CINEMA20, you can get 20% off and free shipping on any products there. It's awesome. It's a cool deal. I've been using Manscaped. I love them. I got the Lawnmower 5.0.
I finally have clean shaven balls.
You finally do. But you'll listen to that ad spot later, or you'll skip it. Whatever one. I want you to listen to it.
Well, please listen to it. Yeah.
Please listen to it. It's funny. But yeah, getting back to this, John, kind of what were your initial thoughts on BeasterDay?
I knew right from the outset that we were in trouble when the opening credits are just really bad still shots of eggs with display font. And I'm like, we're fucked. And then the movie starts.
I love how you go full like film nerd by using display font.
Well, and the thing is like not even like one of the more interesting font. I think it's like Times New Roman or something. But the very opening of the movie at the wedding, like that was just mildly incompetent of filmmaking. Like there was some autofocus issues and things like that. But like, I'm like, okay, maybe this is just going to be a C- movie. But then from there, it basically becomes an F- movie almost immediately. Just utter incompetence. Because we get one of our kills right off the bat, and these filmmakers didn't know how to do any type of special effects. So most of the kills in this movie are like a fake blood splatter and then just Photoshop of somebody missing like half of their body.
I've got so many thoughts on the VFX of this movie. I'm just saying, I have so many fucking thoughts on the VFX of this movie. It's going to be a bad time, just to letting y'all know.
If you want to call them special effects.
You know, I think we haven't had one of these episodes where we just get so angry at the damn movie in a while. Like Leprechaun 4 was all good fun. But like, I think maybe like since, I don't know, Rise of Skywalker, that might have been the last time that we got all very spicy, very angry. This was one of those movies, folks. But my thoughts, I had high hopes too, just because I appreciate terrible cinema. I truly do. But there is a line between so bad it's good and just fucking unwatchable. You know, I watched this thing. I kept pausing the movie just to see how much time was left, because even though this thing is like an hour plus, it felt too long even for me.
Yeah, there was a point where I just had to take a piss and I paused it and I'm like, there's 39 fucking minutes left.
I think I got to like, there was 17 minutes. I'm like, oh God, this is the longest fucking 17 minutes. And then on top of that, like the ending is so goddamn rushed. I'm just like, so how is this going to resolve? How is this? It's 17 minutes.
It's hard to figure out how anything's going to resolve when there's not a plot. But we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say, in terms of bad movies, like for me, there has to be an intent to make a great piece of film and to fuck up. Like these movies that are shit from the outset, and then they use every bad filmmaking excuse in the book to rush it and be like, haha, it's because we're trying to make a bad movie. It's like, no, it's because you're incompetent. Like there are simple mistakes, like when a guy is like running and the camera's out of focus. You didn't purposely do that. You just don't know what you're doing, and you want to do it as quick as humanly possible. Because there's obviously one scene where a guy is killed in a soccer net, and then two characters walk by that soccer net later, and it's like, oh, it's because they said, well, we're already here, so let's just shoot in the same spot, even though this is where another character died.
It's so fucking bad. It's just so fucking bad. All right, so I want to, before we get into, I have some reviews, by the way. I didn't tell you that.
Ooh, juicy.
Before we start recording, I didn't tell you that I have reviews.
Is there any 5-star reviews?
Oh, there are, but it's from idiots. Like I'm calling it right now. If you gave this fucking movie 5 stars because you're like, oh, it's so funny, I'm like, no, it's not.
Maybe it's
encouraging them.
Yeah, maybe it's for people that really love boobs but don't know that there's a thing called the internet.
There are far easier ways to go
boobies.
see boobies on the internet than watching this movie. But anyway, all right, here's the synopsis for the film. A giant, bloodthirsty Easter bunny starts viciously killing the local townsfolk. When the mayor refuses to act and the attacks grow more gruesome, the town finds its very survival in the hands of a wannabe actress and a crazy dog catcher. I didn't mention that this movie was directed by Spencer Snigg and Zachary Snigg, the Snigg brothers. Ugh.
But that's not even accurate, because they don't really do it. I mean, I guess she does, the wannabe actress at the end.
That might have been the part that I fell asleep through. That might have been the part I fell asleep. I knew she had a machine. She had a shotgun at one point.
Yeah.
And that might have been like in the fever dream state of watching
you're
this
right.
fucking movie.
Yeah. That
okay.
happened.
So that did happen. Yeah. I don't know. I just know I was falling asleep around the time when the movie ended. And I was just like I thought, I'm like, oh, I probably should watch it. I can't watch this movie again, ever. Just fucking can't. So I do have some reviews, John, that I wanted to take a look at here. Okay?
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
I'm going to roll the beautiful bean footage. And unfortunately, John, all of these are bad. Okay. I did pick ones that were bad. I'm not going to pick good ones because fuck this movie. All right. So, yeah, Brian's angry. Brian's very angry. All right. So let's look at this first one here. 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. More like BeasterDay. More like the Easter Booby. More like Boob Friday. More like Ass Wednesday. More like the Easter Ratit. There were a lot of boobs in this movie.
2.5 stars is awfully generous.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree, because I would have given it 1 star just for existing. You made a movie. Congratulations. You got distribution. Even more congratulations. And there's so many thoughts about why this fucking movie got distribution, but I'm going to save that for later. Okay.
It's got to be so weird to cast something like this. Like, we're making a purposely bad Easter Bunny movie, and are you okay with showing your tits? These are clearly not actresses by their performance. They're probably like strippers. You know,
that's
that
one
hired.
thing I saw in there too, is just like these could have been strippers, or they just could have been like friends of the filmmaker who were okay with nudity. You know what I mean?
Could be a thing. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm friends with burlesque and sideshow performers. So like, if I said to my burlesque friends, like, hey, would you be okay with this? They probably would be fine. Like, that's the thing, because they're used to that.
And to be clear, no judges. No
judges at all. But yeah, I just, that's a lot of what this movie is. Just calling it out right now. What that review is very accurate.
Well, there's one character that strips down completely naked for to go skinny dipping, and she had a full-on bush, and all I have to say is she really could have used some Manscaped to help her out.
I was wondering.
You can use it too.
Oh shit! I was wondering how you were gonna. I was like, is he gonna do that? Yeah, he's gonna fucking do it. Oh shit! All right. Let's look at review number 2 here.
Yeah.
Love when a filmmaker cares so little you can see the crew in multiple shots. Considering the track record of everyone involved, it's no surprise that it's basically bad porn. Lots of tits. Whoa.
Calling this bad porn is an insult to porn. You know?
Yeah, it is. It is an insult to porn, because porn has various different levels of good and bad, and you don't want to be in the bad level at all, ever. But here we are. All right, let's look at review number 3 here. I'm an artist. I'm a flower. I need you to water me with your wallet. That's a literal line from the movie. Goofy, stupid, and knows exactly what it is. Hard not to appreciate that. I'll definitely watch this again as an Easter movie. I like that we get a new character every 5 minutes, only for them to die right away.
That's what I was saying last night. I'm like, oh, here comes disposable bimbet number 4. Disposable bimbet number 5.
Yeah. No, it is very much just like, you know, you get a moment here with this character who's doing something, always a female, and then boom, she's dead. And we saw her naked for like 5 seconds. You get and it's different scenarios. One person's a hiker. One person's just watering flowers. One person's doing just randomness, you know, doing skinny dipping. So it's always like some random thing happening in the town. They're never connected at all. It's just, let's go to this shot here because I could get this woman naked for 5 seconds, and that's going to be the death there. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard for us to break this movie down because I'm amazed that somebody was actually able to come up with a synopsis of it, because this movie is just a series of events, bad jokes, and boobs and horrific visual effects. There's no real plot. We have characters that do things. That's what I would call it, more than a plot.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
They just do things.
Yeah. Or things happen to them. That's for a long time. We follow this dog catcher who's like the best dog catcher you could imagine.
Oh, I got all the characters that I want to talk about. He's in there. But I got one more. I got one more review before we jump to him.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I got one more review. All right. This one's a long one. The poster is better than the film. I am very confused. Is it supposed to be awfully ironic, or did someone try really hard with this? This is like failing media studies student who realized he forgot to film his final exam piece due, so he had to write it, and over the weekend got people off the street and from the porn industry to act in it. That's act with air quotes. At one point, a horny couple wants to go skinny dipping, and they are nowhere near a lake. The bunny clearly broke all its legs, which look like chicken legs, and been made out of leftover 100-year-old unloved teddy bears. I'm sure it was made on PowerPoint or Movie Maker. It is laughable, and not because of the cheesy dialogue, but the piss-poor effects. It's like watching a train wreck that is on fire while cars crash into the wreckage. It is the worst thing you can see, but can't turn away. It's a great review.
Accurate. Yeah.
Very accurate. Very accurate. Clearly a film person. Clearly a film person wrote that review.
You know what I think I hated the most in this movie?
What was that?
All the attempts at humor. And obviously a lot of these actors were just allowed to riff and do improv.
Oh yeah, I hate
nobody's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that, like, improv is a skill that has to be developed. I've never done improv, and that's because I don't pretend to be a comedian. John, have you done improv before?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can attest that it is something that is a skill that is learned and developed over time.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And clearly these folks don't have it. So let's talk a little bit about some of these fucking characters. Okay. And the first one I want to talk about is the fucking mayor. Mayor Farnsworth. The hippie mayor.
Yeah. What?
What's his deal? Like, I don't get it. I don't get what his deal is. Is he supposed to be some, like, hippy dippy left winger, or is he also supposed to be some corrupt right wing asshole? Like, that's what I just don't get, because he does both.
I think he's just supposed to be stupid and selfish. Like, there's no thought into it.
Yeah, and I gotta question the intelligence of the town that elects a person who clearly is so fucking corrupt. Like, this is a mountain, like, hillbilly town, okay? But they elect a hippie mayor who's, like, got a hardware store, and he's, like, hawking his safety tools while at the same time having sex with random women in a pool, while at the same time making some sort of Easter Day celebration. It just, I don't get it.
Yeah, I think this actor didn't own a suit, and then he just showed up in these clothes and went, okay, you're just going to be a hippie mayor now.
Yeah. I mean, that could be it, but I don't know. Did he die in this movie? Because I passed out probably through his death.
No.
You don't know either.
There was one line that I actually did chuckle quite a bit at, and that's when the mayor is leaving and he sees the giant bunny, and then somebody screams like, "Oh my God, a giant bunny!" And he goes, "You can see that too," because he thought he was just having a acid, flashback
Acid
or something.
trip.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that got a chuckle out of me. Good job, movie. You got one chuckle out of me.
But I couldn't stand him. And like every scene that he was in, he's like in cahoots with the cops too. And every time he's on scene, and then like they even have like press conferences in front of just some random house, because that's what a lot of this movie is, by the way, is just random houses that aren't connected anywhere to anything. There's no logic behind them. And who the fuck has like a press conference in front of a house?
Yeah, and not to get into the nitty-gritty of filmmaking, but there's one press conference where he has a mic on a stand.
Yes.
But yet all the reporters have their own mics, and they clearly went to a rental house and they didn't know what to get. So they just said, we need some microphones. So they gave him shotgun microphones instead of interview microphones.
I didn't get that either. I did notice that too. I was just like, that's not the style of mic that's going to work.
This is the mic that you want for that scene.
Yeah. So outside of Mayor Farnsworth, we've got Doug the dog catcher. Dude. What's his fucking deal?
He likes stuffing his crotch and he has a pencil dick.
I mean, we're introduced to him literally taking a sock door's worth of socks and putting them into his pants.
Because he has a very small penis is the joke.
Yeah, I
later in the movie he gets a boner, and it's they probably actually did use.
Is that what happened? Is that because again I was so fucking lost with this movie that those jokes completely went over my head.
Yeah, like our female heroine like
Brenda.
puts her like face on his lap, and he gets a boner. I wonder if they really did use one of those mini golf pencils because it looked like that in his pants. So
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. When jokes like that don't land, it's present throughout the entire film. You know what I mean? And that's not good. Like what you told me there, like that sounds like a joke, but it's not. It didn't land with me at all. You know. But yeah, he is obsessed with being like the number one dog catcher at the famous dog catching company, Dog Catchers in the Rye. How do I know that? Because every motherfucker in this movie has that shirt on the back. And yeah, he like wants to sabotage someone else who has the little tiny award for number one dog catcher, which is funny. So short, like kind of tangent here, John. I've been given that little toy award by my stepsons. I still have it.
Yeah.
And it's a joke because when I first met my stepsons and we had like our first Christmas together, you know, one of them gave me that award, and what it says on it is number one grandpa. And I still have it. Have it because it's hilarious. And this is after 8 years. And yeah, I still have the damn thing, but it's funny seeing that out there because I'm like, it would have been hilarious if you actually had it say number one grandpa. But instead, they didn't do that because that would have been funny. You know?
Well, I think the entire movie's budget went to making multiples of that dog catcher shirt. And they went, oh man, this cost us $150. That's the entire budget of the movie. Everybody's working for free now.
Yeah. But like Doug really doesn't, he wants to be number one at dog catching. That's his whole modus operandi. And like when he finds out that, the bunny is real, there's literally a 10-minute scene of him running around screaming with terrible ADR. There's a giant rabbit. Like,
are you sure that scene happened? Because it was so blurry, I couldn't fucking see anything.
I mean, that was right before I started passing the fuck out during it. So like, I'm pretty sure that scene was there.
I mean, it was, but it's one of those things too that like, if the filmmakers try to say that those shots were blurry to add to the so bad it's good kind of thing, like, no, you put the camera on autofocus and you didn't know how to turn it off.
I mean, there are a lot of things here that were on autofocus.
I don't think there was any focus.
That's my point. Is that you just said it auto. Okay, yeah. So I could obviously talk more about Doug. I fucking hate him. Mm-hmm. He's annoying on every time, and he's like clearly not a good guy, and clearly just wants to get in Brenda's pants. So it's like, how am I supposed to root for this guy? But yeah, and speaking of Brenda, she is our failed actress, artist / poet, who's really just introduced as being that she doesn't know what she wants to do, but she wants her father to pay for everything.
And her father, I don't know. I don't think we have to give him his own character thing just to say,
no, we don't.
His thing is that has horrible health problems, but all he wants to do is eat that sweet bacon.
Oh yeah, I did want to bring this up because this is funny. So he wants to, it was sausage, John. It was not bacon. No, that I do remember.
It was bacon, sausage, and I believe there was some pork belly.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we're introduced to her father, and yeah, he's obsessed with eating like bacon and pork and any kind of meats, basically, but he can't because he might die. So, that's how we're introduced. So I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. But what gets me is that when they're at a restaurant and like Brenda is begging and pleading for cash to do her art thing, or no, now she wants to be a poet. So yeah, begging for cash to do her poetry thing. And he uses the worst analogy I've ever heard of. Like this guy literally says, you see this napkin here? This napkin's designed to wipe your face. Okay, it's designed to wipe your face. But if I take the napkin and I fold it, I can turn it into a little fucking hat, which will keep my head from getting wet. And if I take the napkin, I could fold it into a fucking paper. Fuck, what the hell does this analogy have to do with shit?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. I'm watching this. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Is this, what does this have to do with anything that Brenda's bringing up?
Brian, nobody will be seated during the napkin can be a hat scene.
Well, first of all, that was another hat. That was a hat there that was already folded, that was hidden. And that was like just thrown there because there's no way that fucking napkin is getting turned into a hat. But why the fuck would they decide to write this into the movie to kind of just say that, oh yeah, Brenda's a napkin.
Well,
and it
Brian,
can only do one thing.
I think the actor improv'd it, and I think he got like about 60% through it before he realized that it didn't make any sense, but he just had to keep going.
Stupid.
And they're not doing 2 takes in this movie.
Oh no, this is one take. That's it. One take, move along. That's it. Because there's no fucking money in this movie.
No.
Oh, but yeah, Brenda is she's just there. Like throughout the movie, that's her whole thing is she's just there. Like she gets a job at the dog catching company, and yeah, that's about it. She doesn't believe Doug, and then she believes Doug, and then again, apparently she has a shotgun towards the end of the movie. I don't know what happens because I fell asleep.
Yeah, it's this movie's brilliant use of, and I'll just tell you the ending now.
Go ahead, you can tell me that because I kind of fell asleep.
They shoot the bunny with a gun and it dies.
I kind of figured that was going to happen. Like I didn't expect anything over the top because this movie is clearly not capable of any sort of effects over the top, which I guess that leads me into the visual effects of the movie.
Oh boy, here we go. All right.
Okay.
Or lack thereof.
Now listen, I'm gonna camera one here. All right. Listen, I have taught myself visual effects over the course of, I'd say, probably 20 years at this point. And I understand, and this is coming from someone who teaches this shit. I understand that when you're learning, all right, that you will make mistakes in your visual effects and they may not look the greatest. And that's all right. All right. That's also what short films are for. Okay. That's why you make short films, is so you can practice and get better at your visual effects. And here's the other thing too. If you do those short films and you find that, oh yeah, I'm really not that great at visual effects, then maybe you hire someone who actually is. Okay? You hire someone. I'm talking directly to you, Spencer Snigg and Zachary Snigg, you motherfuckers. All right? You hire somebody who can do it to spec. All right? You don't do this slap a a blood thing on the screen. Like it honestly, at some points, it started off just like comically bad. And then it just got really fucking bad where there's literally a shot where I guess someone's head gets chopped off and like they got lazy. They just threw blood on the screen and that was it. And they like did a mask around someone's head. I'm just like, this is just laughably, it's just not even laughably bad, just so bad it shouldn't even exist. And on top of that, like I'll forgive the bunny. All right. I'll forgive that because I get what you're doing. But like everything else here is just terrible. It's just god awful and lazy. That's the big thing here. And John, I'm going to get your thoughts on this. The VFX in this movie are just lazy garbage. Hey fellas, quick heads up from the grooming front lines. Shaving your jewels doesn't have to be risky business anymore. Thanks to our friends over at Manscaped and their Lawnmower 5.0, I got one right here, you can forget about nicking your bits. This trimmer is all about keeping things smooth and safe. So you can trim with confidence. Head over to manscaped.com and snag 20% off plus free shipping with the code CINEMA20. With Manscaped, it's easy grooming and no surprises. John, we've known each other for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever sliced your balls?
Oh, all the time. I've got very sensitive nads. Let me just put it that way.
Nads.
I try not to go down there too much because my balls end up looking like everybody who wasn't Harrison Ford in Witness. You know, just Amish nuts all the time.
I mean, for me, I have had problems where I literally have sliced down there and it looks like a horror show. You know, and I don't want people's balls to look like a Cinnabites plaything. So we know that dudes get a little heebie-jeebies when it comes to going down there. And if you want to get a close shave, honestly, this guy right here, the Lawnmower 5.0, can do it for you. This 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little bit off the top. All right, John's got one right there. And a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. I use this one right here because I want to go smooth. With dual LED spotlights, you'll achieve better visibility, making every trim more precise and hassle-free.
You could even shave your balls in complete darkness now if you really wanted to, thanks to the LED light, although I really don't recommend it, but you could.
He's right. Worried you'll make a mess? This bad boy is also waterproof. You can shave in the shower, in the bath, or in the ocean. I don't know why you would shave in the ocean, but guess what? You can. I love this thing because it does come in a compact case, making it really great for travel. Trust me, this trimmer will be your crown jewel's best buddy.
Brian, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Listeners to our podcast, or even viewers now, can they get some kind of special deal?
Oh, they can. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code CINEMA20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CINEMA20 at manscaped.com. Show your balls some love and feel free as a dove.
What I find most infuriating is that they didn't clearly know how to do an effect where the bunny eats somebody. Or cuts
you never see an actual bunny do anything.
Right. There'll be a shot of somebody going like, and then it just cuts to a different angle and they're split in half, which they clearly just, did either some cropping or in editing, or they did Photoshop of it. But it's like, you have to learn how to do it. Watch a YouTube tutorial on it to do something, or just have the bunny like go out of frame, like it's coming to bite the guy, and then cut to them eaten, or ripped apart. Like, it's, guys, come on, you didn't finish the movie. You got distribution somehow, so
I do want to talk about distribution. I want to talk about that because that I think is, if anything, is the most criminal part of this movie. It's that someone thought, hey, let's pick this movie up and distribute it, right? Okay.
I've discovered something.
What have you discovered?
If you have a stupid enough title, like an outrageous premise and a stupid enough title, somebody will distribute it. Velocipaster, this movie. Like, if your title is stupid and silly, people will want to see it.
I almost, like, one, this was distributed by Uncorked Entertainment, and I don't want to badmouth Uncorked Entertainment, but what are your standards? I mean, what the fuck are your standards? And oh yeah, you wanted to know what the budget was for this thing? According to IMDb, it was $150,000. 150,000. Sure. Okay.
Either they're being honest and where in fuck's name did that money go, or they shot it for $300 but wanted to sound impressive.
Oh yes, if we add another zero, if we add 2 more zeros, John, we'll be a real movie. But yeah, I want to bring this up. What the fuck are the standards at Uncorked Entertainment? And like, seriously, Uncorked, I've gotten your emails before. I know that you guys send us movies sometimes to look at. What are the standards? Because this is not it. This is absolutely not the standard of something that's at all watchable. And I get that there is this premise of making movies that are awesomely bad, and I'm a fan of awesomely bad cinema. John is also a fan of awesomely bad cinema, but like, I almost think that this movie is a scam. That's my problem. And that's why I bring it up is if I'm seeing the box art and then I watch the movie, I'm going to be pissed off that I spent any money on this fucking thing because it's a scam film.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, this reminds me, this movie wanted to be Sharknado.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it did. It did. But it's
with
not at all.
1/18 the budget and 1/1000th the talent. Yeah. Not that I'm saying Sharknado is great in any way, shape, or form, but
it's not. But I mean, it's
competent enough for it to be that type of haha, it's so bad, it's such a crazy premise kind of movie.
Yeah.
I think scam is a good way to put it, Brian. Like,
it's a scam film.
They shot over like 5 days, all one take. Didn't like have any lights or decent microphones. They probably shot on like a handy cam, because these days you can buy high definition handy cams, but it was probably just shoot on a handy cam, have one microphone, and and then we'll just throw it in an editing bay and take about a day and a half to do an 80-minute movie edit, and then we'll send it to the distributor, and hopefully people are stupid enough to look at the box art and we'll make money. Well,
the box art is the part that I say it's a scam, because the box art looks awesome. Like, I saw the box art for this thing, I'm just like, oh fucking yeah, look at that. And I've seen some distributors do this, and there's nothing wrong with this. I understand why you do this, right? Distributors, they get movies, they need to market them in a certain way. They know what works, what doesn't work. But at the same time, this box art is so beyond better than the movie itself that if I saw the box art and then watch a movie, I'd immediately be like, I want my fucking money back, because this is false advertising.
Well, so the movie can be like not as good as the box art, but not to this pathetic level.
Yeah.
That it's clear that this movie is a sham.
It's a scam. I'd say it's 100% a scam film. You get this movie, you watch it, maybe you see the trailer, because even the trailer is not as terrible as the movie itself. And like, that's like, I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, it's kind of funny. But there's a problem with this movie, and we've already brought it up, is that there's no plot at all. It's a series of boob shots interspersed with, 5 minutes of a plot.
Yeah, let's kind of discuss the format of this movie. So we follow the dog catcher for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
To no avail. And then there is like a pretty lady that is doing something, and then she loses her shirt and gets killed. And then we follow the dog catcher again, and then it cuts to another disposable woman with big boobs.
Pretty lady.
Yeah. Who gets eaten. And that's the whole runtime of the movie.
Yeah. It's just jumping back and forth between pretty lady, boob shots, and not always just, full frontal nudity. It oftentimes is like there's one sequence where there's a hiker woman who's in the woods, and they just have the camera do the classic male gaze over just her boobs, and like you're just seeing like the rock hard nips, and that's it. But then she gets killed, and then back to Doug.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, the cinematographer, if you want to call him that, the person who had the camera,
that's laughable.
Yeah, the person holding the camera was a huge perv, because anytime, like our main character, anytime she's running, the camera is just on her butt.
Yes,
instead of like over her shoulder or something like that. So,
I'm gonna guess that was one of the Snake brothers.
Yeah,
doing that.
One of the Snake brothers is talking to the actors, and the other one is the auteur cinematographer.
Yes. Like Joel and Ethan Coen, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
That's how it works. Yeah, but I do want to talk about one scene that I thought was the worst of the worst in terms of these, gratuitous nudity scenes, and that was the skinny dipping scene. That was the fucking worst. Absolutely worst one.
Yeah, because he has to, the man has to follow the woman like by her clothing, and then he comes by, what's the name of that Spirit Halloween fake like bloody foots and hands, and then he dies. I'm trying to remember. I just watched this last night.
Yeah. Let me refresh you. So it starts off with a woman and her boyfriend walking through the park, and the guy is complaining. This is one scene that I actually do remember. The guy is complaining that he wants to go to a diner to smoke because guess what? He's a future patient for lung cancer.
Oh, okay? Yes. He's like, I'm down to 2 packs a day.
No, down to 2 packs a day. Gotta smoke one. And he's like, you said you quit. Yeah, I will. Later. Smokes another one. Right. And so she's like, well, I can't do skinny dipping at the diner. It's like, okay. So she just starts stripping. And this is a shot that I was just like, whoa, because she does get frontal. And I'm just like, okay. It's that kind of movie. And she, runs away. He has to chase after her and like do the hide and seek thing with, different clothing. But what gets me and what makes me go like, what the fuck is this movie doing? So she gets eaten by the rabbit. And this poor actress apparently didn't read the contract because she had to literally be naked and in crouching form in front of a tree while, obviously in post-production, they had to remove half of her body to make it look like the bunny had ripped her in half.
Yeah. Put your ass up, honey.
Yes. I'm like, this is so gross.
Yeah.
Like, even for me, like, be like, that's fucking gross.
Brian, I was convinced that the guy was going to go, well, best not to let it go to waste. And he was going to try to go like fuck her bottom half only to be eaten by the bunny. But that's the type of movie we're dealing with. I thought like, oh, they're going to go as lowest common denominator humanly possible. Thankfully, they didn't. Good on you, bros.
Yeah, but man, I that scene stuck to me as just like overly gross. And listen, I'm not saying that, nudity in films is a bad thing. I appreciate it just for what it is. I've also said that nudity in horror movies, more often than times, it needs to be kind of motivated. Like
they objectify the ever living.
Yes,
her. They took advantage of her.
Yes, and that's I guess what makes me feel really icky about all of these scenes with nudity is just that they do feel so overly objectifying. And I get it. We talked about this when we talked about Leprechaun 4, right? Distributors want 2 things, blood and boobs. And yes, that's what's in this. But Jesus Christ, it gets to be a point where it's like just exploitative and not in a good way.
Well, and I hated the guy's death because now I'm remembering it's coming flooding back.
Yeah, it's flooding back.
Now I post
like a bad nightmare.
Disorder. Yeah. Is that he gets his head cut off and he blows like the smoke out from his mouth.
Yes.
And the thing is, you don't have to open your mouth that wide to blow the smoke out. Like smokers know how to like just let it seep out. And I'm like, okay, you blew the joke like you blew everything else in this movie.
Yeah.
Just let the smoke come out. Like, don't have him open his mouth. He's already dead.
Plus, that really wouldn't make any sense. Like, if he smoked, that smoke's coming from the lungs, right? Like, if you lost your head, you don't have the lungs anymore. So it's not going to work.
Well, in fairness, that's the only mistake in this whole movie.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it.
Otherwise, it's the Citizen Kane.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit, though, John, about, because this is, I think, warranted. You know, this obviously is an example of someone trying to make a bad movie on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
What is instead the right way to make an awesomely bad movie?
I still think that you have to be competent in your filmmaking. You know, you still have to light things. You still have to shoot things properly. You still have to have good audio, because this movie does. I want to rip my hair out, but you know, not from my balls, because I don't have any hair down there thanks to Manscaped. But but I want to rip this hair out whenever audio is real bad, and then they just don't have it, and then until somebody talks and it goes, shh. You know, you hear the noise pick up, somebody talks, and then it just completely cuts out completely, because they think that, oh, I just won't have any of the room tone or any of the noise that might picked up unless they're talking. And you can just hear somebody's audio pick up and drop out once they're done talking. Dear God, do I hate that. Either re-record it, which I know this movie do ADR. Yeah, right.
They aren't doing any ADR.
Or just own the noise, you know? And there are filters that I'm sure that they don't know where you can do noise reduction in post-production. Every software has it. Yeah. But yeah, I think you just still need to shoot everything properly, because the joke is a giant Easter bunny going around and ripping women's clothes off and ripping people in half. Like, that's a bad movie. But if it's shot properly, then I think it's more funny. Like, this was infuriating on a technical level. I can let the bad screenwriting, I can let the bad improv go if the movie was shot competently. But because it wasn't, like, I was insulted watching this.
Yeah. I know. I think for me, the big deal is that for a bad movie to be an awesomely bad film, right? Like, a so bad it's good. And I think we've mentioned this before on the podcast, but it's worth bringing up again. That every bad movie that has gained cult status, you know, I'm talking about like The Room, Troll 2, even Birdemic, right? And I really hate Birdemic, but at the same time, I recognize that it is an awesomely bad film. They all have one single thing that runs through all of these movies. And that is that the filmmakers behind them are not trying to purposefully make a bad movie. All of them believe they are making the greatest film of all time. And it's not in a tongue-in-cheek way. They all believe that they are making a serious film. They think they're making Citizen fucking Kane. Mm-hmm. Okay? Like, that is the big thing here, is that you cannot manufacture a bad film that gains cult status. It doesn't work that way. It is hubris that makes a bad movie. It is not intentionalism. Okay? I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm making it a word. It's not intentional. Okay? You can't intentionally make a bad movie, because every time that people have tried to intentionally make a bad movie, it blows up in their fucking face like this. You know? Yeah.
I mean, because there's a big difference between like a B movie as compared to like just utter shit. Because, you know, if they had actually tried with this, it still would have sucked, but it would have been better than them purposely trying to make it bad and also accidentally making it bad. If they just put any thought and care into it, maybe it would have been watchable, but it's not.
Well, think about it, John. I mean, when you do think that you are creating the greatest movie of all time, okay, even though you know everyone else around you thinks the movie's fucking terrible, right? That causes you to invest time, effort, and what little money you do have into that film. And that's why, like, we reviewed The Room. That's why Tommy Wiseau had a terrible fucking script, had terrible fucking actors, but the damn thing is shot competently. That's why.
Yeah, I met the cinematographer.
Yeah,
he's a cool dude, and he's like, yeah, I'm a real cinematographer, but I got this gig because it was paying a lot. But Tommy was a madman, and I'm just glad the check's cleared.
Right, but that's the thing is, at least Tommy cared enough to know, hey, I have to actually have like real cinematographers. And like with Troll 2, Claudio Fragasso believed he was making the greatest family film of all time.
If you ask him, he still does.
He still thinks that.
Yeah.
But he clearly hired real filmmakers, real cinematographers, real editors, real people who did the score. So like there is care involved. And even if you go on the lowest end of the poll with like Birdemic, right? There's a reason why Birdemic Shock and Terror is still loved and remembered, and the sequels aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's because
they're in on the joke.
Or in on the joke. And that's the problem. The minute you're in on the joke, the minute you're no longer thinking that you're creating the best film ever made, the next fucking Citizen Kane, the next fucking Psycho, the next fucking Birds, you are intentionally making a bad movie, and it's going to be destined to failure. And BeasterDay is the worst one of that. It's a scam.
Yeah. I guess like the way to describe it is that nobody cared. And
yes, no one cared.
And here's the thing. If nobody cares, how can you expect your audience to?
100%. 100%. Yeah, I'm glad that our one fan recommended this, because I had to see where the bottom of the barrel is. And I don't know about you, John, but this one's pretty damn low. Like, I wouldn't say it's Neil Breen low, because Neil Breen's films aren't competent either. And those are painful to watch. Like really painful to watch. But I'd say this one's just slightly above it.
The weird thing is, I don't
above it.
I don't teach intro to filmmaking, but if I did, I would maybe show this film, and I would have my students like, we would pause the movie every time they saw a mistake that you don't do in filmmaking. That shot's blown out. That shot's out of focus. The audio is cutting in and out. That person's not properly mic'd. You know.
I mean, I have shown Birdemic Shock and Terror in film class, so I have done that. But I don't know if I'd show this one because of all the breastises.
Oh yeah. You might get angry mom and dad about all the.
I might get angry mom and dad about that. Yeah.
Maybe I'd just cut out all the beeps.
You could do that,
which would be 80% of the runtime.
That's 80% of the runtime.
Yeah.
Professor Wollscroft, why is the movie only 25 minutes long? That's all there is. Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of it is all just breastises.
Yeah. Well, I can't quite remember. I'm having trouble with my memory. Yeah.
Oh shit. I mean, final thoughts, John, on BeasterDay.
I think we hit it on the head, but I'm just gonna recap. This movie is a scam based on a goofy title and a holiday that has not been exploited yet for horror movies, to make cheap ass filmmakers and a production company as quick of money as possible with the biggest, laziest excuse of crap they could have possibly dished out by people that didn't care about what they were doing, allegedly. I also equal that sentiment. I think that this movie is 100% a scam film. I think it is trying to get a market of so bad it's good, but this is clearly not good at all. And I'm allegedly saying that Uncorked Entertainment should, I don't know, maybe look at what their quality levels need to be for submissions, because this ain't it. Because this is it's a fucking embarrassment of a movie. I wouldn't
wouldn't even watch this, John, if you and I were doing a bad movie night.
Yeah.
I can't even watch this during a bad movie night.
And Brian, because you hit it on the head. For me, it's you have to want to make the next greatest movie of all time, and
that's it,
and fall on your face. Like when you're in on the gag from the beginning, and so you purposely just make trash, but out of laziness more than actually like trying to make it look like a bad movie, just utter laziness, then fuck you. Yeah,
that's it. Well, with that said, John, happy Easter to you. I mean, I don't celebrate Easter, zombie Jesus Day, but happy Easter to you. I'm sorry that I made you watch this movie. I'm sorry. Usually you're the one who recommends these terrible films, but I feel guilty having wasted your time watching this movie. But either way, happy Easter to you all if you celebrate it. And with that said, John, where can they find you at on the internet?
Let's see here. You can find me at BeasterDay.com. No, I was kidding. You can find me at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and check out my YouTube channel, J Does Video Nasties. The Mr. McFeely video will give you all the feels. He's David Newell is a great man, which I would imagine from anybody that works with Fred Rogers. And if you're more into my poopy and fart humor and boob humor, I have an episode coming out on Demolition Man in the near future here. Script's finished. Need to shoot and edit that sucker as quick as possible. So be on the lookout for that if you like the more raunchy John. Yeah.
With it said, do me a favor. If you like this podcast, I want you to do me a favor. If you know people who are maybe film people like yourself, or maybe friends who are like, hey, don't watch BeasterDay, and here's a reason why you shouldn't watch it. Share this podcast episode. And you can do that by going to our website, cinemapsychoshow.com/follow, and follow us on your favorite podcast platform of choice. And of course, if you are on the YouTube, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, hit the like button, and share this episode with someone that you might think might enjoy this sort of content. And we will, of course, see you next time.
I promise, for those who are just listening to the audio alone, this is not a dildo, but actually a razor.